I've never met an Ironman. I've never met anyone that did triathlons or anything. 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike ride into a full marathon.
That's insane.
And I was like festering on it. I was thinking about it. And I'm like, you know what? Let's see what we can do in 4 months. I went to the pool for the first time, could barely go 25 meters, doing hard things, reaching new levels, doing hard things, reaching new levels.
Crazy, intense, mental, physical struggle.
Stay prepared so you don't have to get prepared. I'm like, realize what you're truly capable of, how much of your life you've been living, not living up to your potential.
How does that feel?
I'm proud of myself, I guess, for the first time ever. I was at like the lowest point of my life. I always got told that I was too much, that it was too intense. My life kind of got flipped upside down. I had to restart everything. Like 28 years of unhealed everything. And for the first time, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna run. If any time in my entire life I thought that I was gonna quit, it would have been that. I was like, Mady Kennedy doesn't quit.
Mady, you're gonna run an Ironman in 3 weeks, right?
Yeah. Insane.
How does that feel? Are you like nervous? Are you excited?
You know what? I am like so ready. I just have like a lot of confidence in myself. And I'm like, I know that I only had 4 months, so it's not like a ton of time, but I feel like I've prepared in every way that I can, and mentally I'm like always ready.
I pulled up your Strava here. And year to date, in terms of runs, you've done 452 kilometers. Bikes, you've done 2,047 kilometers. And swims, you've done 71,000 meters. 71,688 meters. That's it. That's insane.
And that's that's literally going from never swimming and never biking. Like I went on a bike for the first time in July.
Yeah.
And I've always had like a phobia of the bike. I've always been scared of it. I've wanted to do an Ironman, but I'm like, I can't bike or swim. And okay, so the cool story about the Ironman and how it happened was I've always wanted to do it, and it's been kind of something that's on my vision board, but it's just one of those things that was always going to be my vision board, and I just never was actually doing anything to get to it because I couldn't bike or swim. And then I started surrounding myself with people that were in that world, and all of a sudden it's like all around me. I've never met an Ironman. I've never met anyone that did triathlons or anything. And then I went out running one day in West Hawk with my friends, and we're all sitting on the beach, and all of a sudden like 5 people come up on the beach, and they're all Ironman, and they're putting on their wetsuits and their swim caps, and we're sitting on the beach, and they're going out to swim like 4,000 meters as practice for their Ironman. And I thought this was I was like literally like, oh my God, like this is like a sign from the universe that's like, you are now surrounded by these people. And like just being able to see them do it, like within proximity, I was just like, why can't I do it? So I was just like so inspired, and I was sitting there on the beach all day. I'm like, I'm sitting here and they're like out there doing that. That's so cool. And then the next day we went to our run club, and I was like festering on it. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Like, let's fucking go. Let's do it. So I committed that night. So the next day, and I didn't sign up or register for like 2.5 months after.
Okay.
So it was just like a mindset commitment. And the next day I bought a bathing suit from Walmart. I went to the pool for the first time, could barely go 25 meters without like gasping for air.
Yeah.
Went on the bike at the Crunch Fitness, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, I had no idea what I was in for. But literally the next day I started training, and I knew I had 4 months. I was like, let's see what we can do in 4 months.
Have you always been a motivated person?
I would say yes. Like I do come from a very like athletic family, and my mindset has always been like I've always been very intense, which is something that now I love about myself, but I used to kind of tone it down to make other people feel more comfortable. I always got told that I was too much, that it was too intense. Growing up with like 2 older brothers in sports and stuff, like I've just always been in like my masculine energy of like going for the next thing and grinding. So I have always been that way, but not to the extent that I am now. And now I've actually found like balance where I'm enjoying the process. So I'm not like burning myself out. But I have done a lot of work on the mindset in the last couple of years, especially the last year. And I just like, my mind is so powerful. And once I realized the power of our thoughts and like really truly just what we're capable of human beings, I just feel like most of us are living our entire lives not living up to that. And that's like my biggest fear in life.
Yeah. I'm so glad you say that, because I relate to the sense of like, people think you're crazy.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, why do you do all this? Why do you work tremendous amount of hours? Why do you go chase these big things? But then in my mind, and maybe you can relate, is that's just, why would you not?
Yeah.
Why would you not do that? Why would you sit around and like, to me, that seems even more boring and even more like depressing in my, like, I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then convincing people around you, maybe sometimes the people that you love the most, of like, no, this is what I'm going to do. Have you ever had to do that?
Honestly, all the time. And it used to be the one thing that like really held me back, is like trying to make everybody understand. And now I'm just at the point where I'm like, they don't have to understand. They're actually, not only do they not have, like, they're not going to understand.
Yeah.
I know that I'm someone that's different. I don't want to be average. I don't want to be like everybody else. So like, I have to do and think in ways that other people aren't doing and thinking. Like, I have to act and walk the walk. And I understand that people aren't going to understand that right away. And like, I have to show them through my actions that like, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. So it almost used to be like approving for me. Like, I had to prove myself. But now like the people around me that know me, they know like without a doubt, if I say I'm going to do something, like I'm 100% going to do it. They don't even question me anymore, because I actually take action on it. And I don't care what, if like they think I'm crazy. It almost fires me up more when they're like, if the average person thinks you're crazy, then it's like, it means you're doing something good.
Sure.
And it means that you're doing something that like is a little bit outside the box. And that's what I like strive for. So I love that. When people call me crazy, delusional, the crazier and the more delusional, like the better for me, honestly.
I heard this quote recently, and it was like, if anyone's giving you criticism, it's because they live a life in a way that you just don't prefer to.
Yeah.
So they live their life the way that they want to, but it's just not something that I prefer to live anyway. And when I was like, oh, that's great. Everyone can live their own life the way that they want to. Yeah. But then having those goals and having those motivations to go and chase something. Yeah. Did that come right away? No. Like can you repeat the question? Sorry. So the reason I ask is, you just signed up, or you mentally made the commitment of, I'm going to go do this Ironman. But was there a time before when you made mental commitments, but then thoughts come through and you didn't always stick to your word? Yes, 100%. Like I've always been a big dreamer and like had big goals, but they were only that. Like I got lost in the dream stage. I got lost in the like always thinking about the future, but never taking action. I would say, honestly, it wasn't until the last year. I had like, my life kind of got flipped upside down. I had to restart everything. And I was like, okay, I can either dream about all of these things that I want, this dream life, or I can go and make it happen, because thinking about it is not going to bring it into reality. So I started just shooting my shot. Like my motto for this year is just shooting your shot. Like, ask, put yourself out there, reach out to the person. Like, the worst they can say is no. And I mean, I think most of us just live our whole life scared of rejection. And I've just realized that like rejection in a lot of ways is redirection. And you never know if you don't ask. And the amount of things that have come into my life and the amount of opportunities that have come into my life just by simply like reaching out to somebody or asking for what I want is insane. Like, there's just so many examples in my life. And I think that's just so important. I think we live in fear of being rejected, of people saying no. And something that I've really leaned into too is being okay with looking stupid and being okay with starting as a beginner. Like, the people reach out all the time are like, I would love to do an Ironman, but I can't swim. Like, well, are you swimming? No. Are you in the pools? Well, like, sign up to go to the pool. Well, like, I don't know how. Well, like, there's just so many actions that you can take. And I think we just like subconsciously hold ourselves back from even trying because we're scared of looking stupid, especially as adults. Like, when we're kids,
we can go and splash around, it doesn't matter, right? But like as an adult, to go into the pool and like look terrible and look stupid and not know what you're doing 100%. Is like, a lot of people don't want to feel that way. But I've really leaned into just being a beginner, looking stupid. Like, who cares? Like, actually, who cares? You know, like, no one's looking at you as much as you think that they're looking at you, you know? 100%. And if they are, it's like they have bigger issues in their life. So
closed mouths don't get fed.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. It's like, that's, yeah. And it's crazy what can happen when you open yourself up to that.
What was like your biggest dream as a child? Like, what was the dreamer Mady like, or is?
So my dreams like have changed a lot. Like, I used to be a creative makeup artist, and I did that for like 12 years, where I did like crazy illusions and face paint. And I thought that was my dream. Like, and I wanted to be like famous and, you know, be on all the big YouTube channels and all that stuff. And have my own makeup brand. And I did. And I just was so unfulfilled in that. So my dreams and goals have changed a lot because I put a lot of emphasis on the outcome, and like, I would be happy when I get the success. And recently I've just been like, kind of dissociating from the outcome as much, and allowing the process to be the point, and allowing the process to be the joy, and finding moments in the mundane. Because if you're just like always focused on that goal in the future, like the future doesn't even exist, right? Like right now is all we have. So I was miserable just thinking about all of these goals in the future. And that was almost like my coping mechanism of just pushing everything into the future, so I didn't have to actually act and do. And that's just like, you know, we all have our different ways of doing it. And I didn't want to actually have to take action. So I would just dream about it. At least I'm preparing, but I never actually got anything done. And now I'm just like, do it, take action, take the first step. It can be the smallest things. And honestly, the smallest things are even more important than the big ones. Cause like, you have to build trust in yourself in those little moments in order to be able to handle those bigger ones too.
Can you talk about your life as a makeup designer and how'd you get into that world and what that looks like?
So I've always been a creative. Like, I just love the creative freedom. And as soon as I got out of high school, like, I knew school was never for me, like going to university and stuff. I was like, well, that's not for me. So let's, and I just started watching YouTube videos, and I taught myself everything that I knew. And I started posting my looks online and started getting like a lot of traction that way. And that's how I built my following originally, is on Instagram and TikTok. And I thought that was, you know, my passion, but it became just like constantly creating, and it just took all the fun out of it. And it was never about the makeup. Like, it was about the creativity aspect of it. Like, I was in high school, I never wore makeup. I wasn't like, you know, a girly girl by any means. So it was like kind of a weird, like, I guess, career path for me. But I started like a makeup brand, and on the outside, I would say like everyone probably thought I was like successful in that. And I just thought of my life in 5 years, and I was like, could I picture myself being like 30 years old, 35 years old with like a kid, like with kids and a family and a husband? I'm like sitting in my makeup room by myself in this little like square for like 15 hours a day doing my makeup. I'm like, no. And in that exact moment, I was like, I tried to kind of push through. I was like, maybe this is just like a burnout thing, because I was pushing really hard. And I was like, no, like, I am someone that's so passionate and intense about the things that I love, and I like go all in. And if my heart is not in it, like, it shows. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So like, I was like, I can't even fake this anymore. Like, I'm miserable doing this. So I stopped doing makeup like that. And everyone was like, whoa, what the hell? Like, you were doing so good and had all these opportunities. And yeah, from the outside world, I feel like it looked like that. I shut down my business. And I walked away from the entire thing like that. And I didn't explain it to anybody. And I was really lost in that moment, because I was like so wrapped up in that identity. I was the makeup girl. Like, people would stop me and be like, oh, you're the makeup girl. You're like makeup. And I was like, who the fuck am I without makeup? Like, who is Mady when she's not doing this thing? So I kind of was lost for a while in that transition period. And that's when I found fitness and kind of changed my life around.
But you were doing like crazy makeup things, right? Like, design, like artistic things. I don't know the word of makeup.
Yeah, it was like creative illusions. It was like 15-hour like face and body painting. It wasn't just like your regular makeup. It was like more like Halloween, like lots of eyeballs everywhere.
Like a makeup artist, or like the stuff that you see on like TVs and like things like that.
Yeah.
Right?
It was very like creative, I guess you could say. And it was fun, and I did enjoy it for the time being, but I just outgrew that dream and that goal. And kind of like in an instant, like all of my dreams changed, all of my goals changed. And I think that's another thing is I was playing a game, like the cards, what's the card game that you play with your friends where it like asks all the questions, cards, you get really deep. And it, like one of them was like, what's something that like the thing that they loved most about me is that, or admired the most, was that I can change at any moment. And like, I think a lot of people get stuck.
You're right.
In their goals and their dreams and their work. If it's not fulfilling you anymore, like you have one life, why are you staying? Why are you doing something you don't want to do? You're not stuck anywhere. And if I know you feel stuck, but it's just because like where you want to be and where you are aren't matched up. And it's like, that's where our anxiety and our stress and us feeling lost comes from. It's like where we are and where we want to be. It's like you can feel that disconnect, and that's why you feel so stuck. And it's like one action, one choice, one decision can change and alter the entire direction of your life. And I'm someone that's just like, if I'm not passionate and fulfilled in something that I'm doing, I'm like, boom, switch, let's go the other way. And like, I have confidence in myself that I'll make it work regardless of what direction I'm going.
Yeah. Is this the point in life that you mentioned that your life like got switched around?
Yeah. So that was like last year about this time. I just went through like a very like big change in my life. I kind of had to restart. So I had, like a new home, a new car, a new career, new everything. And I was at like the lowest point of my life, and I was just like, what next? And I almost have to like, it makes me emotional almost, because being at that rock bottom was like the first piece of solid ground that I felt in so long. And I was like, I can build my life to be whatever I want it to be now. Like I have nowhere to go but up. And like now I get to restart, refresh from like a completely clean slate, and I get to like determine the direction of my life. And I put in so much work in myself and did a lot of like deep healing, and it was like really messy for quite a few months. And then slowly just like things started falling into place, and I'm like figured out what I really wanted and what truly fulfilled me and what truly brought me joy, and like finding joy in those small moments, and then finding just like community and connection with people and having conversations with people and getting raw and like vulnerable. And just like life has completely changed in the last year. If you would see pictures of me like from last year or a couple of years ago to now, like I am a completely different person, and like it's just been the most incredible journey ever.
I mentioned this. We had a conversation with Jason McNeil, and he's had a rough life and like super like inspiring story. And he was like very similar to us in the sense that like focused on something and put his entire thing to it, and then all of a sudden something changed in his life. And then he found something else. I asked him this question, and I think I'll ask you as well. Do you think you found your new passion, or did you just divert your attention to something else?
Yeah, that's a good question. I truly think I found my passion, and I think that it can take shape in different ways, and I think it is going to. I'm someone that like I need to like ebb and flow with life, and I can't be just in one thing. I'm so passionate about certain things. I know that like my dreams and goals are going to change throughout the way, but that at the end of the day, my morals, my integrity, and like my mission in life is going to stay the same. So regardless of how that comes out in my goals, I think at the end of the day, like my whole life mission is to inspire people to believe in themselves and to show them through my actions that like you can do and be anything that you want to be in this life. And I believe deep in my chest that like I can do anything that I set my mind to. And I believe that anyone can. If you fully commit to anything, I think you can do that. Like you can do anything.
What's the biggest dream you have right now?
So many. I mean, next up is definitely like Ironman. Like my Ironman is definitely like the next goal that is on my plate. But I'm trying not to think too much about the future and just letting it kind of flow how it should be, because I think when we focus too much on one thing, we kind of have like our blinders on for that one thing, and we don't open ourselves up to all the other opportunities that can come along the way. Versus if you are just like focusing on who you're becoming in the process, then you are so open to receiving like all the incredible things and the people and the places and the opportunities that are in front of you. I used to just focus so solely on one thing. And I'm like, all these things existed around me. I just wasn't open to seeing it, or, you know, those doors weren't open because I wasn't open to actually walking through them. So now I'm just like, every door is open, and I'm like, any direction I could go in, and it's exciting, you know, like it's really cool.
Do you almost always like have to disconnect yourself from like the end goal, in the sense that athletes have this moment when they like win a Super Bowl, or they achieve something they've wanted for so long, and they go, what do I do now? Like my whole life's purpose has been to do this one thing, and now I've done it. What do I do now?
Yeah. So, you know, you hear a lot of people, like everyone that I've talked to that's done Ironman, they said you get that after the Ironman. It's like you've been training so hard for this thing, and now it's done, and you think that the finish line is going to be this like huge moment, and it is, but then it's like, holy, what do I do with my time? What do I like? My purpose was so caught up in the training for it. And although I've been loving that process, that's something that I've been working on. And I was someone that really focused on the end goal. And I think it's important to do that. Like I have envisioned myself crossing that finish line so many times that I'm like, there's no way that it's not going to happen. I can vividly picture in my mind, like me crossing and then saying like, Mady Kennedy, you were an Ironman. So that part is like already set in stone. Like I'm certain of that, but I don't want to be so caught up in my identity being there, because there's so much more to me, and there's so many more things that I want to do in this life that, like, you know, regardless of that outcome, I'm going to enjoy the process. I'm going to enjoy who I'm becoming, and any failure along the way, any setback is just a lesson. It's just like, what can I learn from this? Okay, perfect. Like, you know, brush it off and we go to the next, and we keep growing. And that's, I think, the whole, like, what I'm striving to do is have big goals, but also enjoy who I'm becoming in that process, learn the lessons that I need to. And then, you know, I'm just like building up my toolbox and I'll be able to just accomplish more and more and do more and more and change the world.
It's almost like you're stacking proof, right? Like in the sense of like, if I could do this crazy, intense, mental, physical struggle, like what is this small thing, or like what is this in the moment that seems such a big thing? The reason I say that is because the first time when I ran a marathon, literally similar vibes, just signed up like a couple of months before. Okay, now we're running. Everyone in my family was like, that's the worst thing you'll ever do. Like, do not, people die. Like, you're going to ruin your entire life. And when I crossed the finish, and I was like, I just did that. And if I could do that, sure, it took me 5 hours, but if I could do that, what is like a small other obstacle that's in my life that's like, I went through a mental struggle with that. I went through a physical struggle with that. What about now? Like, what are those things? So like, what is your mindset after you do these crazy long like training sessions, and like now you're going to run an Ironman in 3 weeks? Like, what do you think your mindset's going to be like after that? And what kind of proof are you stacking?
You know what? I'm already confident in myself, but I just know that after I just know that the struggle and putting your mind through that and digging to those places, you just can't reach that level of growth without going through that struggle. Like, you're tapping into places in your mind that you cannot get to unless you're doing something super, super hard. And I like I look for that now. Like I seek that because I'm not afraid of it anymore. You know, like every time that I put myself in a hard situation or a challenging situation, I've gotten through it. And the more that you do that, the more you build that proof and that evidence within yourself, and then you build the confidence to be able to do the next thing and something a little bit more. And honestly, it starts with those little tiny things, like the things that people think are so insignificant. Those are the things that stack up. Those are the things that add up. It's like showing up for yourself every single day. Those tiny things that people are just like, oh, it doesn't matter. No, like those matter even more, because if you can't even show up for yourself in those moments, like why would you ever trust yourself and believe in yourself to show up in those big moments? So I think like those small things are even more important and significant in your life. But I've just really embraced the struggle and realize, like, not being afraid of that and tapping into it, because I'm like, I'm excited to see what my mind is going to come up with. I'm excited to see what my body's capable of. I have just like a new appreciation for my body, for my mind. Every single time I do like a really hard run or a really hard training session, or I hit like an uncharted territory, I'm like, wow, like I just did that. And it's like so much, like for the first time I'm allowed to be like, I give myself like, I'm proud of myself, I guess, for the first time ever. And I'm like, celebrate that. Like you just did something hard. You just did something that like a lot of people aren't willing to do or aren't capable of doing. And it's something that old me would have never thought I was capable of either. And every single time I like keep showing up and doing something more, I'm like, what else can I do? And it was the exact same thing with my first half marathon in June. This started the entire my entire like fitness or running journey. Like I was just doing a couple 5Ks for Run Club. I had no goals in the running space. It was my 29th birthday, and one of my friends dared me to sign up the day before. And I was like, you know what? Let's start 29 off with a bang. And one of the things that I always told myself is stay prepared so you don't have to get prepared. And I'm like, this might be the perfect opportunity to like put that to the test and see how prepared you really are, because I was working really hard in the gym, but I hadn't run more than 6 kilometers before this. And I'm like, well, let's see what the body can do. I was kind of nervous, you know, I didn't have that proof within myself yet because I haven't done it. And I was trying to just go for under 2 hours, and I did like 1:48, and I was so proud of myself. And the first thing I thought of was like, damn, if I can do that, like what else can I do?
Yeah.
And then it just like sparked this whole other thing. And a couple weeks later is when I was on the beach with all the Ironman, and I'm like, well, this is it. Like if I can do that, why can't I do this? And why not me? So that's when I started doing triathlon. And then, you know, since then I did 2 Spartan races and won them. And then I got first and got second and like crushed my personal best by like 12 minutes, and then did a triathlon, and just keep proving to myself, like even when I think that have like all these big dreams and I'm like think I can do anything, I still find myself doubting myself or like holding myself back and not shooting high enough. Like even like every single race that I've done, I'm like, oh, 2 hours, you know, like I'm shooting myself really low because like I know I can do more than that. And every single time I prove that to myself. I'm like, why do you keep doing that? Like you're shooting yourself low because you don't want to fail. And rather than like shooting for a stretch goal that's going to challenge you, I think a lot of people don't shoot high enough because they're worried that they're not going to reach it. And they'd rather just shoot for a lower goal, so then they're not actually pressured to show up. And that was something that I did for my entire life. And now I'm like, like let's go for those stretch goals, because it would have been easy to sign up for a 70.3, which is a half Ironman. And a lot of people said, you know, even doing that would be crazy on 4 months. And I'm like, you know what? Now I just did a 70.3 on a random Tuesday for training 2 months in. And I'm like, if I would have said that to be the goal originally, like I would have never pushed myself to where I'm going now. So I think stretch goals are so important for really showing us what we're capable of.
I think this is just like a mindset shift, because if you set a task to do something, like if you say I need to get something done by the end of the week, you're going to take till the end of the week to do that. But if you said, oh, it's due in the next hour, it's due in the next day, you're just going to, time's going to fill that ability to get that stuff done. What happens when the opposite side of like you set immense goal and you know it's hard and you put your whole effort into it and then that doesn't work out. For example, like if you're doing a training session or something and you set an unreasonable amount of goal, in your mindset, you know you're going to do it, but you're just, maybe your body's not there. Maybe you just haven't trained to the point where that's not there. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with like the setbacks, the failures, the negatives, which are part of the journey?
Yeah. I think honestly, instead of like beating yourself up, it's like looking at, okay, why wasn't I prepared? What could I have done to be more prepared? Or, you know, what did my body need? Like one of my mantras before any race or during any run is I go like this and I'm like, body, I show up for you every day. I fuel you. I care so deeply about like my sleep and my stress and my, like what I feed you. I'm like, I show up for you. You show up for me. Today's when you show up for me. And I just have such a like deep like love and understanding for my body now. So I just like take a step back and I'm like, okay, what was my body telling me? What didn't I do? What could I have done better? Was I not fueling it enough? Did I not like, you know, hydrate enough? And I think like if it's genuinely the body giving out on you, I think that's what you have to ask. Yeah. But there is, for most people, I think, a hard balance of knowing when it's the body and when it's the mind.
Yeah.
And I think because I have such a strong mind now that I can tell the difference. Like I know that even when I'm like, oh, this sucks, this is so hard, you know, like I don't want to finish this, I'm like, instantly mind. I'm like, is my body done? Yeah. No. On the flip side of that, I understand my body so much and I listen to it so much that when it is truly a like, something's feeling off, I don't want to get injured or something like that, I am able to listen to it. And that's something I never had before either. Like I have a very different appreciation and respect for my body now. But yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with knowing when to push themselves or like when it's their mind playing tricks on them. Yeah. Because your mind's going to give up way before your body's ready, right? And at Thrive, I always, you know, like the last 10 seconds, I always say like, okay, you have 10 seconds. This is not when you quit. Like, I know it's 10 seconds and it's tiny and insignificant, right? Like stopping one rep short, but it's like in those moments, that is the most important. Like this is when it counts the most, is those last 10 seconds when you're sore, when you're tired, when you want to quit, and you do not let your mind go there. It's like, you have more in you, you are capable. And every single time, like I love seeing it on their face when they think they're ready to quit. I'm like, don't quit. One more rep. You can do one more. They do one more. And every single time they're like, wow, like, yeah, of course I could do that. And then you start building that up. And then it's like, you realize what you're truly capable of, how much of your life you've been living, not living up to your potential. And that's what scares me the most about life. It's like, I'm not scared of dying. I'm scared of not like getting to the end of my life and realizing like I did not live up to my potential.
This reminds me of a story of something that I've heard where when life is over, whatever you believe in, whatever happens after death, but let's pretend there's something and a paper slides across the table and it's like, this is what you could have been. And this is what, like, that's scary.
That is actually one of my favorite. Do you know who Ed Milet is?
I do.
So he's like one of my favorite. I love everything that he says. And I mean, he believes in God. So, you know, he always says, you get to the end of the life and you meet the person that you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And he's like, my biggest fear in life is that I meet that person and we're complete opposites. We're complete strangers. And like a life well lived is meeting that person and being like, hey, we're the same. I lived up to my potential and I did what I knew that I should do in this life. And that's like all I'm striving to do. And I know that I was put on this earth to like do big things and make waves and like challenge myself and inspire other people too. Like I feel like I have that gift. And it's like, how dare I not like show up in that way and like use it, you know?
Yeah, you mentioned Ed Milet, but another person that comes to mind in this conversation is David Goggins.
Oh, yeah. They call me Mady Goggins at work because I'm like very intense, but...
And he has that 40% rule of like, if your body's going to quit, your body's going to quit so much before your mind does. And when your mind does quit, it's like you're only 40% of the way there.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And I know, like I've never done a full marathon before, but obviously that's going to be in the Ironman. And I'm not training a full marathon before. So that'll be my first ever one on race day. And it's like, I've been asked, like, does that scare you? Like, how do you know that you can do it? And I'm like, I don't. I do. I do. Like, I've never done it. I've never shown myself that. But I have so much confidence in my mind. And I know that my mind will be able to push me through that.
Yeah.
And then if you break it up too, like I've done a half marathon, right? Or I've done a whole bunch of 10K. So it's like, oh, it's I've done a 30-kilometer run. And then what's another 12? I've done that a million times, And I just know that at the end of the day, at the end of the Ironman, it's going to be mindset. What sets you apart is going to be the mindset, and what makes you cross that finish line is not going to be the body. It's the mind that's going to either make you quit or make you keep going.
I want to dive into that mindset, but I keep every like 6 months I go back to this video. It's Israel Adesanya and David Goggins like training together, and they're on like a elliptical.
Yeah.
And then Israel, like, he's a world-class athlete, an MMA fighter, but he gets so exhausted, he like falls off like the Stairmaster. Yeah. And then David Goggins like, get your ass back up on there right now. And just something about, we mentioned like you mentioned the last 10 seconds when you're at Thrive and you're telling people might think you're crazy, but in my mind, and maybe you can agree with this, is it's not just those 10 seconds. Because if you give up on those 10 seconds, it translates to, okay, when anything is crazy or harder in my life, I'm going to give up on those. So if I can get through these 10 seconds, I can get through that. Do you feel the same way?
Absolutely. I think it's so much bigger and deeper than what people want to think. They're like, it's 10 seconds, Mady. It doesn't matter. It's one rep. It doesn't matter. No, it genuinely, that is what matters the most. It's easy to show up in the first 10 minutes when you're feeling great and you're motivated and you have all this energy, and that's easy. Anyone can show up in those moments. But what sets you apart, if you want to do anything great, is you have to be able to dig deep in those moments and handle that amount of struggle. And the only way that you can do that is by keep doing it. And that's how you raise your comfort zone. Like, I like embrace the discomfort. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be a walk in the park. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Like, in that uncomfortable is when you're growing. Is that struggle is literally, that's the growth. And that's why now I seek it out, because I know that that's the only time when you're truly growing. If you feel uncomfy and uneasy and, something's like scary, that is literally the key that you're on the right path. That's how it's supposed to feel. Like, if you're comfortable your entire life, you're not doing anything worthwhile. Yeah.
I've always said that. I've always said that I think everyone should experience at least once in their life of doing something extremely hard. Yeah. And like pushing yourself through it. Because once you do that, then all of a sudden a lot of things unlock. It's like a limiting belief that you have within yourself. I was like, I did that, I can do this. Yeah. I do want to touch the mindset part a little bit, because I don't think a large percentage of the population has been there.
No, I agree.
And I think they should at least try, but it gets dark. It gets dark in those, 12th rounds, in those, later stretches of those moments. What does that dark look like for you, and how do you get past that dark?
Yeah, I think that's what most people shy away from. And I do think, in a way too, people purposely shy away from that because it's scary, it's uncomfortable. And that's like kind of with the healing, right? Like, a lot of people that have trauma and stuff start running because it's like, it's like a way to get your mind off of it. But a lot of people are scared to be in their own thoughts. And I was that person as well. Like, I never wanted to be alone. I never wanted to be in quiet. I never wanted to hear my own thoughts. I constantly had to be busy, constantly had to be out with people and partying. And because the second I was alone in my own thoughts, I was like, oh, this is scary. Like, how do I deal with this? I actually have to like deal with what I'm thinking and my emotions. And I think that really diving in, and it looks different in every single run. I think sometimes it's like, do you just want to swear and scream, and it's like, ugh. But sometimes it's a little bit more positive. But I find that I get like all my best ideas, I get all my best thoughts in those moments, because there's no distractions. It's you and your mind. And when you become friends with like what's going on upstairs, like even if it's dark, it's like I'm now like friends with my mindset, and in my mind, like it's a good place to be because I can manage those emotions and I don't let them like overtake me. Then I almost look forward to it. I'm like, let's see what we can do here. Let's see what depth we can actually get to. And I'm still finding that. And I think it's a never ending journey, honestly, in our life of doing hard things, reaching new levels, doing hard things, reaching new levels. Like you're never going to be fully there. It's constant because you always have things that are coming up and, you know, different things that you're dealing with and going through. But I think looking at it just in a sense of like learning and growing and evolving and listening to yourself and understanding where you're coming from. And I truly think that is the key to life that a lot of people are missing out on. They think they look at like runners or anyone that's doing anything crazy. They're like, why would you put yourself through that? It's insane. And it's like, yeah, it is. But there's a reason that it's addictive. And there's a reason that people, it never just stops with one. It's you figure out what you can do and what you're capable of. And it unlocks new everything in your life. It truly like opens up the doors to so many other things. And that's what I think. I almost wish for everybody that they could just like experience it once in their life, because I think their whole life would be changed 100%. If they did.
What's for anyone who hasn't been to that moment of like being alone in their thoughts, could you visualize or like explain what that feels like?
I think this year was the first time that I ever sat in silence with myself. And let me tell you, it was the darkest, like scariest, most uncomfortable thing that I've ever done in my life. Like I'd rather run 5 Ironman back to back than go through what I was going through in my mind during those times. And it was just like 28 years of unhealed everything coming to the surface. And for the first time I was like, you know what? I'm not going to run. And we all have our vices. We all have the things that we go to cope and to manage. And mine was running away and being busy and doing all the things. I'm like, I'm not doing that this time. I'm so tired of running. I'm so tired of being insecure. I'm going to sit with myself and sit with my emotions and sit with my thoughts. And I literally did that for like 3 months. I sat in a room like and just let myself feel everything. And after I let myself just like cry and let myself like experience the emotions that I needed to experience, only then could I understand them. And then only then could I be able to manage them. And now they don't have the power and the control over me anymore. So I almost like, I feel like I gained power back over my life, over my mind, because I took control and I understood where my emotions were coming from. And I was like, why did I feel this way? And then I gave myself grace and understanding, and was able to like build on that. And I came out of it again, like a completely different person. But I think that's why I've been able to tap into these totally different mindsets now, because I have a true, deep self-belief and self-confidence in myself. But it started from within. Like it wasn't in the performance and it wasn't in the things that I was doing, the achievements. It was finally understanding myself and finally healing and working through the shit that I was pushing off for my entire life.
How'd you get to that point?
Being forced to. I got to a point where I almost look at it like the universe was giving me a chance and an opportunity. I didn't see it in the moment as this, but now looking back, I was like, thank you, because I would have never moved. And I think a huge piece of that people don't understand is when, you know, not every loss is a loss. And sometimes it's the biggest blessing you could ever experience. And it's, I was so comfortable and I was not going to move. I was not going to make the changes that I wanted. I wanted this life, but I was not willing to do the things that I needed to do to get there. And it was almost like the universe was just like, hey, I'm going to remove it for you then. And ripped the rug from under me and was like, deal with it now.
What does that mean? Can you share?
And yeah, I just went through a breakup, and, you know, it wasn't just the breakup. It was just like all the unhealed things that I needed to work on. So I was taking accountability for myself, and, you know, I was like, okay, like I'm restarting everything, restarting my life. And I look at it as like the biggest blessing now, because I would have never made that decision on my own, and it had to be made for me. So I was almost forced into this healing.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have happened any other way. And that's like the most powerful part, is like sometimes it's like there's gentle nudges, there's nudges, and you ignore them. And then finally it's like, okay, they got to scream at you in order for you to actually move and make those big changes and big decisions. And I was like, this is my opportunity to grow, to learn about myself, to do the work. And I did just that. I'm like, I don't want to be here and be in this spot and not come out a better person and not come out like healed. And like it would all be a waste. You don't go through something, you know, that hard or difficult, or you don't go through the struggle to not come out a better person. Like that would be a waste, you know? So now I look at it as like any setback, any opportunity that, you know, that is a loss, like it's never really a loss. It's redirection somewhere else, or an opportunity to grow or learn about myself.
Then I get fueled and fire as well. Like, I want to do something. Why is it always the heartbreaks? Why is it always the heartbreaks that push you a little bit over?
Yeah.
I've thought about this at length as well, of like some of the most greatest things that I've achieved is from a heartbreak.
You know what I think, like something that I've really realized is that we seek in other people the things that we're lacking in ourselves. And when I was able to understand that and be like, holy crap, like I've been seeking out love and attention and affection and respect from everybody else around me.
That's a great point.
And I wasn't giving it to myself. I'm like, how do I expect these people to show up for me when I'm not showing up for myself in that way? And so that's exactly what I was like, okay, I want this from a partner. I have to give it to myself first. And what's the flip that happened in that is I started giving it to myself, and then I no longer needed it from other people. I no longer was seeking it out from other people. So it changes your relationship with people. And it's like, okay, I am whole on my own. And now anyone that comes into my life, like, what are you adding? Like, are you adding value? It's not from being desperate. It's not from, you're just giving me validation and attention. No, I give that to myself. I'm good on my own. So now it's like, you look at relationships in a different way, and people you hold yourself to a higher standard now. And it's like, I give that to myself. I don't need it from you. So what do you bring into my life? You have to bring joy. You have to bring peace. You have to bring, you know, abundance into my life as well, because I give that to myself now. And it used to be out of, I didn't have it. So I needed it from you.
No, that you articulated that perfectly. Of that we tend to want to build with others, whereas we're not willing to build alone. And we're not willing to, you know, sit in that room for 3 months or go to those depths of, this is hard. Like life is hard. Life is not what people see chapter 40, and like they don't see they see the entire book. Oh wow, it's an amazing book. That's an amazing story. But man, you open those pages, like there's some ups and downs in there for sure.
Like no good story ever is just like, I made it, you know? It's like, no, you read those books and it's like, holy crap, they went through like the ringer, they went through all this stuff, and then, you know, and it's in those like vulnerable moments that like makes you who you are. And one of the quotes that I heard that just was so profound to me was, what is it? Can I pull it up on my phone?
Go for it.
Okay, because it's...
Who's it from?
I don't even know where it's from, but like, it's kind of going off of what we were talking about.
Well, and to play off what you were just saying as well, I find that a lot of people go through a part in their life where they're with a partner and they give a lot of their energy and time to that partner, and they invest their whole entire life into their partner. And then one day things might go south, and then all of a sudden you have all this free time, you have all this free energy that you were originally putting into that person. That you got to put it somewhere, right?
And that is why people, you know, go gain that after a breakup. But I've lost myself in every relationship that I've been in, because like I just give to other people. And honestly, it came from it came from my own insecurities. But I gave so much of myself in needing to prove myself and needing people to like me. And then I would lose myself in the process. And then I wondered why, my relationships were falling apart. It's like, I didn't love myself. I can't expect you to love me. I don't even love me, And I think it's taking radical accountability for your life, taking responsibility for your life. Like everything in your life is because you've allowed it there.
It's your fault.
Everything. Yeah. And not to dismiss things that have happened to people. But when you can take full responsibility, you gain the power back. And it's like, I'm the problem, but I'm also the solution. Yep. You gain all of your control back. People think that when you take accountability, it's like you're giving your power to somebody else. It's a complete opposite. Yeah. It's, I'm taking responsibility for this. I have the power of it. So I also have the power to change it. You can change anything in your life, but you have to take ownership for your life. Yeah. And the reason that you're in the position that you are and the things that you have in your life is because you have allowed every single one of those things to be in there. It's because of a choice you've made, a choice you haven't made, or boundaries that you haven't set.
Yeah. The harsh truth is if you're in a place where you don't want to be in, it's your fault.
Every time. It's your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're in a place where you do want to be in, that's also your fault.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the quote.
Okay. So the quote is, if outside validation is your only form of nourishment, you're going to be starving your entire life. How true is that?
That's true.
And that was how I lived my entire life up until now is I just needed it from everybody else. I needed the validation. I needed to prove myself. I needed people to like me. And it was all because I didn't like myself. It was all from insecurity. Yeah. And I think most people in the world live their life like that and don't even realize it because they're not self-aware enough to realize that hey, I am with this person that doesn't treat me good because I do not treat myself good or don't respect myself or don't value myself, I think a lot of people just don't even realize what they're allowing and what they're accepting in their life.
What are your thoughts on motivation?
We got lots of thoughts on motivation. I think that motivation is just something that a lot of people want to use as a crutch. And yeah, it's nice to have, but that is not what's going to get you anywhere. And I think people have realized that. And it's the reason that people start and then they stop and then they fall off. And it's the reason that they can't stick to anything or, in the health and fitness space, a lot of people start and then nothing works. It's because they're relying on motivation. And motivation comes and goes and it's great when you have it, but that is not what you can depend on. Yeah. Discipline is what you can depend on. That's showing up when you don't want to. When you told yourself you're going to do it, that's what matters. It's proving to yourself every single day that when I say I'm going to do something, I am. And then you build that trust within yourself. And that's how you build confidence to know that you can do anything, is in those little moments that people think are motivation. And they think that they just can't act if they don't have motivation. That's literally not the point at all. And you will not get anywhere in life if you're relying on motivation. Yeah.
The difference between your current state and your dream outcome is just the work that needs to be done. Not the crazy affirmations in the mirror, not the motivational speeches that you listen to, not the crazy ice baths or whatever. It's just you doing the work that needs to be done.
And I think a lot of people try to overcomplicate it as a form of procrastination, as a form of just not having to do it. And I think we overcomplicate it, we overprepare, we overplan, we write down lists, we will start Monday. You wouldn't have to start Monday if you just did it every day. Little things every day. You don't have to go and do an Ironman tomorrow. You don't have to do anything crazy like that. But the reason that you can't stick to it is because you are planning and pushing rather than just doing the action. And most people know what to do. You can't tell me that every single person on this earth knows what to do to get, you can refine later, but you have to take that first step. You don't have to have everything in place in order to start. You don't have to have the perfect plan, the perfect workout, the perfect meals. You don't have to eat organic and all those things to make changes. You just have to start. Go for a walk today. Take the stairs today, go in sunlight. Go do something that brings you happiness and brings you joy. And it's literally in those little moments that make up the majority of your life. And I just think people really try to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
And so it's a mechanism to not actually have to do anything.
Yeah. To counter that a little bit, but I think it's the comparison part though. Because people see others at a stage that they're not.
Yep.
And they're like, well, that person's running an Ironman.
Yeah.
How can I take the stairs if that person's running the Ironman? But they don't see those small build up to the end.
And all of our journeys are different. And that's why I try to always like share the real and the raw and the vulnerable. Like I was not in a place to run an Ironman a couple years ago, you know, and I try to always be like, show where I started and show that like, it was not easy. I was in a very low spot. I was lost. I was overweight. I was miserable. I hated myself. I hated my body. And I'll tell you right now that person and living that every day was much harder than any of the discipline that I'm doing now. Like I have a self-respect and and I have so much value for myself now because I'm putting in the work. But I always want to acknowledge like the process and the journey. And no matter where you are in that journey, like it may look easier for me, but like it's not. I'm reaching new levels and I'm going through the depths of that at every level, right? You do hit that at every stage, right? And it's like when you are challenging yourself, you're gonna have crappy days. You're gonna feel like shit sometimes. You're gonna have doubt and low motivation and day that you don't want to do it. And that happens at every stage as you progress and as you get better. And it doesn't change. Like you might have more tools to handle it now. But if you're comparing your day one to my day, you know, to my year 3, like you're never gonna be happy with where you're at.
100%. Is there anything that you do strategically to keep your discipline?
I am pretty routine orientated. I think that just we like to make things more difficult and think that all these crazy things have to happen, but it's like it's in the mundane, like it's in the boring. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be exciting. And I think if it's not exciting, then we just like quit and give up. And it's like it's in that boring stuff that no one wants to do or no one wants to see that makes the biggest outcome. So for me, it's like my little wellness routines and my daily rituals, like those are non-negotiables for me. They are non-negotiables. Like my sleep, anyone that knows me, you cannot twist my arm. I need to get my 8 hours of sleep. That's something that is a non-negotiable for me. I know the power of sleep. I know the power that it has on my mood, my recovery, my performance, and I'm not willing to give it up for pretty much anything. My nutrition as well. Like I care deeply about what I put in my body and how I fuel my body, from a form of like self-respect for my body. So it's not just putting, you know, like anything in my body that are like low calories and, you know, it's fueling my body for performance and fueling my body with things that feel good. Like going for movement obviously is a huge one. Like I have to move, even if it's a rest day, like just going for a walk or, you know, getting outside, doing something creative every day. So doing something fun every day, being alone in my thoughts for a little bit, like, you know, whether that's journaling or meditating or just sitting there in silence. Like we don't do that enough. Like I don't really watch TV or anything, but like just, you know, sitting by yourself on the couch for 10 minutes, like not touching your phone. 10 minutes sounds crazy, but it's like, you know, how often we just like grab our phone. It starts off with those little small things. And, you know, like just those daily habits are just like the foundation for everything else that can grow on top of it. And if my peace is disrupted, I've created such a peaceful home and environment and community around me, my connections, my friendships. Like I've really eliminated all the things that brought me like a lot of chaos. And I used to almost like seek out chaos because it was like all I was kind of known, like all I knew and it was familiar. And now I've just created such a peaceful environment for myself. And it's so important, like your stress level and stuff. So any way that I can bring that back down. If life is stressful and life is chaotic, like I have my ways of just like being able to calm myself down. You know, if that's lighting a candle in your house and like just being more intentional about making magic in the mundane moment.
You said something magical there about like routine, but then also environment. Because I think I think you can be disciplined and you can make that mental switch, but then if your environment doesn't dictate that, it's very hard because our brain is used to habits.
Yep.
Okay, this is where I, sit on the couch. This is where I do this. And your brain just thinks, okay, I'm in this environment. I'm going to do this, X, Y, Z. But that can change in terms of who you surround yourself with, but also like where you live, what you do. But who you surround yourself with is, I think, something that you mentioned at the very beginning of like being around people who are much faster than me.
Yeah.
Being around people who are doing these things. What subconscious notes or things do you get from being around those people?
I think that being surrounded by people that are better than you is the cheat code. Genuinely. And I have tried to surround myself with people that are better than me in every form. And like one of the quotes that I live by is like, if I'm the smartest person in this room, I need to get in a better room. I need to get in a different room. Okay. If I'm the strongest person in this room, I need to get in a different room because you're not learning anything at that point. Like I think a lot of people are just scared, right? Like they like to be the person that knows everything and the person that like doesn't have to ever ask questions. Ask questions. Like you are not growing unless you're asking questions. And now I like almost probably am annoying to people because I'm like asking them questions, asking them about their life. Like, and I think it's just so huge to switch your environment and you don't realize how much your environment impacts your life until you change it. And then you're like, wow, look at what else is out there. Because when you're so focused on just your surroundings, you don't realize that there's a whole other world out there. Like triathlon, Ironman, like that is a whole other world that existed the entire time. I just didn't know it was there because I didn't open myself to it. And now I'm in that world and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is another whole universe, And then there's like all these different, like there's so much going on around us that we just aren't open to. And I think, if you are not constantly challenging yourself and being around people that know more than you, then you are not you're not doing yourself any good.
What do you think is more important? Let's say you're not a motivated person, but you're just in the right environment, or you are a motivated person, but you're not in the right environment.
Oh, well, I think if you're not motivated and you're in a room full of motivated people, like by proximity, you're getting lifted up. Okay. Like you have no choice.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. And I think the opposite is so damaging. And I think, like if you are a super motivated person and you're around people that have no motivation, that are super negative, like you are going to end up like them. Like even if it's not quite to their extent, you will be dulled down. Yeah. And I felt like I was dulled down my entire life. Just, it was no one else's fault. It was my own. Yeah. But being around people that also have like, this similar mindsets and the positivity and I think a big piece of it was stopping drinking, because for me, I had to almost relearn how to like be in society, how to talk to people. And I relied a lot on alcohol to give me that like extra boost. I was a confident person. And then I'm like, but I can't go out and talk to people sober. That's weird. So when I stopped drinking alcohol, I was like, ooh, I got to like learn how to, like, who is Mady without drinking? So I started to have to find like other things that brought me joy, other things that were fun and exciting. And then you start to meet people that also are on that same journey, right? And it's like, when I was drinking all the time, I didn't see any sober people around me. Yeah. They were there. Yeah. They were there. I just wasn't open to it. And then when you actually put yourself in a situation where I'm like, okay, now I'm sober and I'm going out to run clubs and I'm doing things that don't revolve around drinking, then guess what? Like all these people start coming into your life that are aligned with where you're at, because it's an energy, right? Like the energy that you give off is what you're attracting.
What are your thoughts on New Year's resolutions?
Well, I am a big like goal setter. I will say, like, I do love a good like reset, a good goal set. But I think that if you just keep up with at least maintenance, you don't have like, there's just doesn't have to be as much of a emphasis on it, because I think a lot of people just set these big goals and intentions and it's exciting and they maybe stick with it for a little bit and then they, because they set these goals that are just like, they didn't set any intention behind them, right? So it's like you set these big goals, you have to set, how am I going to do that now? What does the daily look like? Who the person that I want to become, how do they show up day to day? It's not this big goal that you have to focus on. It's who is the person that has that thing. So if I want to be an Ironman, how does an Ironman show up? Would they skip their training sessions? No. Would they, like, how would they wake up? What time would they wake up? How would they walk into rooms? And I think that is what people don't focus on enough, is who you need to become in order to attract that thing. Because, for example, we could talk about it in money form, or we'll go health and fitness. Sure. So if I was to give you your dream body today, like this, on a silver platter, okay, you might like, that's exciting. Yeah. But have you ever thought of what you would have to do to maintain that?
Yeah, good point.
That's why lottery winners lose all their money, because they didn't know the tools and the techniques that it took to get that. Yeah. So they can't maintain it and they can't hold it. So if you were just given your goals and your dreams, like that's not what it's about. It's about who you become on the process, the tools and the lessons that you learn on the way, so you can maintain and keep it. It's not about losing the weight or having your dream body. It's how do you maintain that for life, right? And if you skip that process and like the diet culture of, just the quick fixes, you lose out on that whole process of learning how to actually maintain and get that thing. And that's what I feel like a lot of people don't understand.
Because they want instant gratification.
Yeah.
And that's based on social media. That's based on our environment. That's based on everything.
Yeah.
Just having the quick fix.
Do you feel like that's why it's so important to fall in love with the process? Because I recently saw a quote. Somebody said, "You've already achieved things you thought you would never achieve, or you said would make you happy."
Yeah.
And once you achieve those things, often people do find themselves in that position of, oh, what next? And you mentioned that earlier. So why do you think it is so important to fall in love with the process? Is it because of everything you just said, or is it more just because of the fact that life is fleeting and you don't get those moments back? So if you don't fall in love with it in the moment, you're always living in the future.
I think there's a piece of it that's both. And you're like, I don't ever want to be living in the past or the future, because they don't exist, right? And I think if you're always living in the future, you are robbing yourself of the present moment, and you're robbing yourself of enjoying it. And what is the point of getting the thing if you hate your life in the process, or you hate your life when you get it? Like that's not fun. That's not fulfilling. So like I had to come to terms with that. I was so focused on just the goal, and then I'd get the goal and I'm like, well, that's not fun. Like what, and it's like, I never want to lose my drive and my fire for always wanting more. And I never want to feel ashamed for wanting more and going after big things. Like I'll always have a goal to work towards, but I have to enjoy the process, because that is the whole point. And I think this Ironman journey has really taught me just like every single obstacle teaches you a new lesson. Every single thing that you have to get through, every single setback is giving you another necessary tool to get there, another necessary tool. And it's like that mindset that you hit. It's like, in the training sessions, you hit that different level of depth in your mind of what you think you can accomplish. And that was like a tool that you needed for the next level to get to that next distance. And every single one of those, if I would have skipped them, I wouldn't have been able to get there, because it's like you could have everything in the toolbox. You missed that one. And it's like, that was the one wrench that you needed to like, put it all together at the end. And I think that we miss out on so much of that by trying to get there so fast and avoid failure and avoid the obstacles. It's like the obstacles are literally the only way, the only way that you can get there and sustain it and enjoy the process of it.
Yeah. I like this framework of saying like, I'm either going to die or it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's literally me. It's like
crazy.
All in or nothing.
Like, it might sound crazy, but that frame of mind has like put me in this place of like, there's only one way through this.
Yeah.
It's either I'm going to die or it's going to work out. Those are the only two options.
Yeah.
There's no plan B.
I've said that from day one. There's no plan B. Yeah. And I think honestly, it comes down to knowing and trusting, having such a deep trust within yourself that regardless of which way it goes, regardless of which decision or which path, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I have full certainty that no matter which way I go, I will be able to figure it out. I'll be able to make it work. And that's only something that you can do when you have like a deep rooted self-confidence and self-trust within yourself that you've built. But now I don't, like, I used to fester on decisions, and now I'm just like that, like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I have the trust that no matter what, there's no wrong decision. It's this or this, and either way I'll figure it out. And either way I am open to the lessons, and the, you know, you don't know either way. Like, you can't compare the two journeys, right? You one or the other, and you just have to make the decision right and go after that.
You also give me the vibe of like, on a long enough time horizon, you got it.
Yeah, like I truly think if you commit to anything, anything, you can make it happen. And I think we see it every single day when we're open to it. If you look for it, you can find the miracles, the people that like did the unthinkable, that, you know, did the impossible. All of that exists. Like, you go look it up and it's like, oh my gosh, impossible that they made possible. And I think that is so huge, because I think, why not me? Like, that person's just like me.
Yeah.
Why can't I do that? And I don't think that I can't do anything.
Yeah. There's people in worse spots than you and I that have made it.
Way worse.
So
like, I realize how privileged I am 100%. And like, yeah, it just like lights a fire in me. I'm like, I almost like, to the extent where it almost makes me angry when I see people not living up to their potential, because it's like, especially with your body, I'm like, we have one body, we have one life. And you, like, how dare you be able to move and have, like, you know, have that ability and not use it? It's just like, I can't fathom it, because just like, it's so, there's people that just can't move. There's people that just got told they'll never walk again. There's people that just took their last breath. And I know this is deep, but it's true. It's like, people take advantage of the fact of simply just being able to move their body, and it's a privilege. And I truly like feel that I almost like get emotional anytime I do my training sessions. Like, I'll be in a run and I'll start crying, so I'm like, what a privilege it is to be able to move my body like this and challenge myself and challenge my mind, and have a mind that I'm able to push like this, and a body that I'm able to like feel the feelings that I am. That is such a privilege that I think most people just overlook.
But I think it's because people can't see what they already have, right? Like, if this is your body, you're going to have it. But as soon as you reframe it of like, hey, like, let's pretend I gave you a car, and let's pretend this is the only car you'll ever have. You can't buy a new car. You'd clean it, you'd maintain it, you do everything you want, because this is your only vehicle. Yeah. But people can't translate that to, oh, my body's my vehicle.
And I think, it's sad that we have to lose it or experience loss in order to put that perspective in our mind. You know, like, I don't want to have to get to a place where I'm in the hospital and I'm forced to slow down in order to like take care of myself. And that's unfortunately what a lot of people do. And then we're forced to, you know, like, if you don't take care of yourself now, you'll be forced to later, you know. And that's something that really stuck with me, is this saying of like, think of the person that you love the most in the entire world, and for an entire year you switched bodies and minds, and that you knew at the end of the year you had to give them back, you had to switch back. How would you take care of their body? How would you take care of their mind? And it's so true, because we give to everybody else and we show up for other people, but why do we feel like we are not deserving of that for ourselves? If I had to switch bodies with my favorite person in the entire world, oh my gosh, would I be taking care of that, feeling like I would, you know, take care of her and speak good thoughts to her in the mirror. And then with ourselves, we you know, we look in the mirror and we like constantly are talking down on ourselves and self-doubt and negative thoughts and not fueling ourselves and not moving. It's like, take care of yourself the way that you would take care of a loved one.
I want to dive into the world of the Ironman, because that is a world.
There's a world.
One I don't know too much about, but we've had the opportunity to speak with other people who have done the feat and who trained for the feat. What is an Ironman?
So the full Ironman is a 4 kilometers or 3.8 kilometer swim into a 180 kilometer bike ride, and then into a full marathon.
Wild.
So it is a long journey. There's a time frame, like a cutoff for each leg, and then there's a cutoff for the entire Ironman as well. So I signed up for the full Ironman in July, and it's in 3 weeks. So I had 4 months to prepare, and this is going from 0 experience with swimming and 0 experience on the bike. And in that amount of time, we've like pushed so many limits and hit so many new PRs and distances. And I'm going into my peak week this week, which is the most amount of distance that I'll be doing. So I'll be doing the full like 180 bike this week on my trainer, which will be about 7 hours sitting. And then probably the highest will be about like a 35 kilometer run. And then the rest will just all be mined.
So when this episode comes out, you would have already completed your Ironman.
I will be an Ironman.
Do you have any words to yourself now to your person in 3 weeks?
Girl, I don't doubt you for a second. You are already an Ironman. Like, you are already an Ironman. I have envisioned it so many times. There's not a doubt in my mind that you're not crossing that finish line. And I'm so fucking proud of you. Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
Yeah. Makes me emotional. I know I'm going to cry when I cross that finish line, because it's just like, I know the hard work that I put in, and I know that like I share a lot of that, but nobody knows the depths of what you actually put in on a daily basis. And yeah, I just know that it's going to be a very like transformative experience for me, and I just like can't wait to see where it leads.
Mm-hmm. How technical have you got with this like Ironman world? Like, I just saw a video, and I'm not even in the world at all, but like somebody was like, oh, such a genius that they kept their swim cap on over top of their something, and I was like, yeah, okay, but like
there are so many things that you would never think of. Like,
can you tell me something that may shock my mind? Like, well, first of all, like they pee themselves.
Okay. Like, you pee yourselves on the course. Fun. Because like people don't want to stop. That I don't know how I'll feel about that, but we'll see how it goes.
Have you trained for that part of it?
Haven't trained for that, but that'll just be a race day thing, maybe. Yeah. Hate to be the person behind me. There is so many things, and I'm so blessed to have like people around me that have done Ironman and triathlons and have been able to give me so many tips and tricks. I would not have been able to do it without them. Mm-hmm. And I've just asked so many questions and like rinsed them of the information. But the bike alone, there's so many things that I never thought I'd be a biker. I've always hated biking. I've always hated biking, and like cyclists on the road, I like never respected them. Never, you know, just like, oh, get off the road. And now I'm one of them. Yeah. And I'm like, every time I see a cyclist on the side of the road, I'm like, yeah, crushing it. Like, let's go. So I have a different respect for triathletes now, because it's a grind. Like, you're not doing one discipline, like 3 disciplines that you have to train for at all times. And that's a lot. And yeah, it's like long, hard, grueling training sessions. I have been loving the entire process, but the bike, you know, you set up on a trainer, and then you have bike shoes that clip in, and like, oh, there's so many things, and like aero bars. I didn't know anything. I didn't know you had to clip into your bike. My first time, I fell over like 5 times, like just ate shit because you just topple over.
Yeah.
So now I've actually started enjoying the bike, but truly it was being such a beginner mindset that I was open to absorbing all the information. And now I look at it, I'm like, I'm enjoying like buying a bike, and I'm like, I bought new bike shoes, and I'm like so excited. Old me would have bought like, you know, new cute shoes, and now I'm excited about spending all my money on bike shoes with clips, and I'm getting like a bike fitting to make sure I'm like working optimally and my legs are moving properly. I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, no, I feel like it'll be a long, like Ironman, I'm not going to stop at Ironman. Like I'll be doing a lot.
Yeah, to be fair, a very heavy investment as well. Some of these bikes and these equipment is like,
yeah, I did get wild. Like a lot of my stuff secondhand, which is great. Like my bike, I got secondhand off someone. And then it's just like slowly, you know, getting a different seat and the shoes and the aero bars and fixing it so it fits you properly. Because if you think about it, you're on a bike for 7 hours, right? Like you need it to be efficient, and you need it to be like, if you're going for a short bike, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But if you're like hunched over in aero position and something's off, like it's so easy to like tweak something, and then, you know, and then you have to get off and run right away. So like I bought my first running shoes in June, and I had this was before the half marathon, so I had no plans on running anything. And I've ran my entire Ironman journey in this one pair of shoes. And I just got new ones for that WSPF. So yeah, there's just a million things that you would never expect.
I think I definitely have some limiting beliefs of like 7 hours on a bike is insane.
It is insane.
It seems like a lot of time.
It is a long time, and I would have thought the same. And like now I'm doing it.
Yeah, because you've done it, right?
You know,
like,
and but yeah, like I still think it's insane. I like get off. I'm like, I just spent half my day on a bike. That's like kind of wild. Like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I catch myself, and I will say I'm pretty aware, and I catch myself still just thinking, I can't believe this is my life. Like almost every day I'm like, I can't believe this is my life now, because old me would have never believed what I'm doing now. And yeah, it's just like, I'm very appreciative of it, very grateful of it. But 4 months ago, I knew nothing about Ironman, nothing about triathlon, was not a runner, you know, like all of these things are new, and now it's my whole life.
Yeah.
And I've like circled my whole life around it, and I love it so much. And I'm like, I can't wait to like, you know, do so many more triathlons. And like, I see that for my future and for my life for like a long time. So
Can you break down the random Tuesday that you just ran a half Ironman? Like,
So-
what does your entire day look like for that, the night before to doing that?
So kind of like 4 months we had to train. The first week and a half, we went out to Clear Lake and we did like an Olympic distance triathlon just to see where we're at. That was my first time ever on a bike. I had my like big clunky thick running shoes on the bike, so didn't have clip-ins or anything. And then that went okay. I did a triathlon. I had a panic attack in the water. And I literally, like, my heart rate was, I was like puking in the water. I was like, I didn't think that was, if any time in my entire life I thought that I was going to quit, it would have been that.
But you can't even stop. You're in, like, right? You just gotta like,
Yes.
you can't just like float there, can you?
And I was like, I was so close to calling it quits and like grabbing onto the person, because there was like kayakers, and I've never been closer to giving up in my entire life. And I, you know what, like I was just about, I asked her, I said, if I touch your kayak, will I be DQ'd? And she said, no, you can hold on to it. And I was like, nah, Mad's like, Mady Kennedy doesn't quit. And I kept going. And I came out of the water like 12 minutes after everybody else. And then bike and run, I like crushed it and did really well and came out in like fifth. But the swim had like a mindset block on me after that, because I had such a panic attack in the water, just from like,
What does that look like? Just heavy breathing? Like, or like,
well, I mean, the nerves of race day, and then also like my fueling wasn't right, and I was feeling just really off. And it was my first time. It was cold. There's like a million people around you, and everyone's like splashing around, and I wasn't confident in the water. That's another thing, is like, I have never done that distance. I was not confident in it, and that showed. And I just panicked, and you're in the water and already you're getting splashed and you can't breathe and you start having a panic attack, which I don't really get. Like, I'm usually pretty, and that was a really big wake up call for me. And I was like, okay, I came out and I was like, well, that goes to show my weak spot. That's what we got to work on even more. So the water held a really big like mental block on me for a while. And when we did the 70.3, that was like me gaining my power back. And I was like, I'm going to do this straight through just to prove to myself that I can. Yeah. So 2 months into the training, we went out to West Hawk and we did a Mach 70.3, which is literally the half distance, which would have been my original goal.
Yeah.
And did it straight through, and then did an extra 100 meters just for the mind, you know, just go one more, or Ed Milet's, you know, further, one more. Yeah, and that was just kind of like a big like fuck you to myself. And it was like, do that extra just to prove to yourself that you can. So that to me was like me gaining my power back in the water and the control back, which I needed. Like that was the one part about the Ironman that I was a little bit nervous for. And I knew I couldn't go into it being nervous. I have to have full trust within myself. So the 70.3, we went, and it was a 1900 meter swim. And then we went straight into a bike, the 90 kilometer bike, which was like ridiculous headwind. So like wind coming at you. So you're literally pedaling at like 8 miles. Like it was so slow, so hard. We're like, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare trying to get through this. We ended up getting through it. And then ran the half marathon after. And like by this time it was like already almost dark. So we got through it. And the feeling after was just like a sense of relief. I'm like, if I can do that, I can do double. If I just did that, let's just that twice, you know, that's, you know, and it's like almost taking things off a pedestal of thinking like it's this big, crazy, grandest thing. And it's like, chop it up into pieces, chop it into pieces that you've already proven to yourself that you can do. And it just loses its power. It loses its impact over you to get through it.
Are you saying, oh, it's just twice, or like, oh, it's just twice?
No, I'm saying like, oh, it's just twice.
Okay.
Like, you know, like it's this funny thing like that I do when we're running or anything, you know, like we hit the halfway point. I'm like, final stretch.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like,
unless the first half was miserable, then you're like...
Yeah, but then it's like, it's just 2 more 5Ks,
yeah.
you know, like breaking up the half. It's like 5K, we've done that a million times, you know, and it's like, it just loses its impact, especially when you're going into uncharted territory of places that you've never been before. So like mentally you haven't been there yet. You have trust within yourself, but you're also, you know, you haven't proven to yourself that you can do it yet. So I think in those moments is when you have to cut it up into bite-sized pieces that you've already accomplished and you've already proven to yourself that you can do.
One step, one stroke.
That's literally what it is. It was every single stroke in the water. I was like, one more. You can quit. When I was having my panic attack, I was like, you can quit, but not yet. You can quit, but not yet. You can quit. One more stroke, one more rep. And I did that for literally 40 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Every single one. I was like, you're not going to quit yet. You can quit, but not yet. And that like literally got me through.
That's so insane, Mady. You have my respect.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You had it before this, but now you have it now as well.
Thank you.
Mady, if there's any piece of advice that you can give to anyone out there that's listening that wants to do something hard but can't, or is not in the position yet to do that, what would you say to them?
I would say, why can't you? Why can't it be you? And I think if you fully commit, you can do anything in this world that you desire to do. You just have to be committed to the process and committed to the learning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mady Kennedy.
Thank you.